Warren Hansen began this program here, naming Athletes of the Year, back in 1966. So this is the 50th annual Athlete of the Year luncheon at Cuesta College. Okay, I'm going to introduce some people that we have here in attendance and just thank them for being here and all they've done. And hold your applause for each group. But from the Cuesta College Board of Trustees, I'd like to introduce President of the Board of Trustees, Pat Mullen, and Trustee Dr. Barbara George. Please stand up. From the Cuesta College Administration, we have a lot of people here today, so I appreciate your support. Again, hold your applause. Superintendent President Dr. Gil Stork, Vice President of Academic Affairs Dr. Deborah Wolf, Vice President of Administrative Services Dan Troy, Dean of Academic Affairs Dr. Jason Curtis, Dean of Workforce and Economic Development John Cascamo, Dean of Student Services Catherine Reidstra, Interim Dean of Humanities Michael Jacobs, Executive Director of the Foundation and Institutional Advancement Shannon Hill, and batting cleanup President Emeritus Dr. Frank Martinez. I mentioned our athletic booster club, and we have a tremendous executive board and booster club, and it's a pleasure to work with them and have their friendship. But our booster club is amazing. They really are. They raise nearly $20,000 a year for our student athletes annually, but more importantly is the relationship and support they give to all of our student athletes and coaches. Amazing. I'd like to introduce them. Our current president is a former student athlete here at Cuesta College, softball player. And she was actually Athlete of the Year at one point. I'm not going to name what year that was, but Audrey Dodd is our current president. Audrey Dodd. Vice President Stan House, past President Abby Woodward, Dan Deutsch, Nancy Webb, Jason Curtis, and Mary Rash. Thank you guys for all you do. You look around, you see our sponsorship. The people that sponsor our sports programs and our athletes. I'd like to introduce those people that are here today with us. And again, number one, the support they give us financially is critical and needed and amazing. But I think more importantly is the friendships and the relationships that we've built with those businesses over the years. It's truly amazing the support they've given to Cuesta College. And again, I'll introduce them. They can stand, and then we'll give applause at the end. But from Rabobank, Chairman of Community Leadership Group Steve Harding, and Vice President Branch Manager Lisa Adams. From Phillips 66, Maintenance Superintendent Jim Anderson. From Coca-Cola, Market Manager Andrea Stock and Chantil Bledsoe. From the California National Guard, Colonel Joe Rigello, Major Satelli, and Captain Ruiz. From PG&E, Regional Director Pat Mullen. From Morro Bay Tourism Bureau, Aaron Young. From Columbia College, Teresa Genova. And from Affinity Chiropractic Center, Jeff Heiner and Sandra Karlick. Thank you all so much. And with that, I'd like to introduce our President, Superintendent, Dr. Gil Stork.
Thank you, Bob. That chicken tasted a little bit familiar. About every fourth week, I think we have chicken. And it's still just as good as it was every month the last how many years we've been doing this. But yeah, I want to thank Dockside Cafe too, because they've done a wonderful job in partnering with our Booster Club and all the other community sponsors that we have today. There is never enough resources to run a first-class athletic program, but you really help us to step out and provide our student athletes and our coaches the best experience and opportunity that is possible under the circumstances. How many parents or friends of our athletes that are here today? Please raise your hand. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sending your son or daughter to Cuesta College. And I hope by now that you have gained a sense of what we pride ourselves in here at this particular college, and that is really a caring environment is about not necessarily just winning and losing, but also helping develop the next generation of leaders. And if people are going to take with them an experience that where athletics was a vehicle to gaining an education to make a difference in this world. But I'd say that I think the most important lesson for me to be a college president was my coaching experience. Because there isn't a day that you're faced with some kind of challenge. And you're also faced with the fact that you've got 900 employees, all of whom have different skill sets and different levels, and yet we have to accomplish something together, which is stated in our mission statement for this particular college. And so as the coaches know, and as the student athletes know, it's about putting people into the right spots where they can be successful with the skill set that they possess. There's nothing more agonizing than to put a player or an employee into a role that they're destined not to have success. It's difficult for the institution, but it's even more difficult for the person who's experiencing that. So coaches and college administrators, we're challenged with the matchup. You know, who's the best thrower for today? You know, who do we put in this particular situation? Where can we best maximize the human potential that we have within our organization? You know, that's the challenge that we have, but what a wonderful opportunity. It's such a great opportunity to change the life of the student athlete. They come to us with a varying levels of experience, whether directly from high school, or they may be like some of our student athletes. The itinerant college student has gone from school to school, looking for the right place to land. You know, this is an opportunity that we have to get that student focused on the next step, the next leg of their development. And I think that that's one of the great opportunities that the community colleges, especially in California, have. There's nothing more challenging than working in this environment, because we take every student, no matter how old, what condition they're in, what skill sets they have, and we help them achieve some level of success in an area that they want to achieve. As I said before, but there's no greater opportunity to make a difference in the world than working at a California community college. And I say that after being here for 49 years. You know, I'm in a rut, and but it's the most wonderful rut I've ever experienced. You know, because every spring, when we bring this gathering together, it's a witness of what this is all about. And when you leave today, you're going to be a changed person. You're going to be a changed person by what you hear about what our student athletes have accomplished and what they're able to do, not only athletically but academically, which is really the real important end result of this, is where we've been able to prepare students to take whatever pathway they want to go and have options and have choices. So thank you for being here today and supporting our student athletes and our coaches and all the other people it takes to run a really top quality program. And thank you for believing in Cuesta College.
Okay, at this time I'd like to introduce Pete Schuler. Pete Schuler is our sports information director, also a women's water polo coach. But I'm going to tell you, Pete is one of the, for athletics, has more history and knowledge about our Cuesta College athletics. Sorry, coming up here, Pete? No, he does so much work on this program. I just got to give all the credit to Pete for the history that we have here at Cuesta College Athletics and so forth. So, and thank you for all he's done for this luncheon today. So, Pete Schuler, thank you.
I know Gil, as a math teacher, knows this was our 51st year, 1966-2016. Our first award, before we recognize our Athletes of the Year, we want to break it down and recognize our Athletes of the Month. Every month, we recognize a male and a female athlete who performed to the best, highest standards in his or her sport. And their posters are back there, but we want to have an opportunity to show them in front of everybody here today. So, when I call your name, if you can come on up, Bob, can you help me with that? We have posters for you guys to take home. And if we could have you line up in front of the podium so we make sure we get a picture of everybody who is here. For our first month, September, from cross country, the male athlete was Sean McDermott. And the female from water polo was Isabella Manueli. I don't know if Isabella's here. In October, from wrestling, Luis Quintero. And from cross country, Ali Voth. In November is a wrestling sweep, first time that's ever happened. We had Josh Cortez, he's not here today, but we also had our first women's wrestler to win the award, and that's Kate Nessingen. In December, we kept with wrestling, and Will Thornton from the men, and from basketball, Angela Laverius. In January, we had a basketball sweep from the men's team is Roberto Montavani, and from the women's team, Autumn Russell. In February, went into baseball, into the Diamond Sports. From the men's team, we had Garrett Giovanelli, and from softball, we had Cheyenne Huffstetler. In March, from track, Joe Reeves, and also from softball, Demi Donnell. And from this last month, from baseball, Neil Uscali, and from swimming, Andy Miller. And we'll have two more from May, but we're waiting for baseball and track and field to finish their seasons. So, ladies and gentlemen, your 2015-16 Cuesta College Athletes of the Month. This is the 51st time we've presented this award. This is the George Silveria Student Athlete Career Award. It's based over a student athlete's career. In 1966, Warren Hansen and the Cuesta College Athletic Booster Club Board of Directors established the George Silveria Student Athlete Career Award. The award honors and serves as a memorial for George Silveria. George served in World War II and was a graduate of the original San Luis Obispo District Junior College in 1948. He was the captain of the football team in 1947, and an executive member of the student body, a dedicated student, and extensively involved with the community. He is well respected by his teammates, coaches, teachers, and peers. He truly exemplified the meaning of being a student athlete. George passed away and succumbed to leukemia in 1961. This award takes into consideration a student athlete's career as an athlete, their involvement in the college and community, sportsmanship, citizenship, coachability, and leadership on and off the field. In essence, it exemplifies the type of student athlete we tried to mold here at Cuesta College. Our 51st recipient of the George Silveria Career Student Athlete Award from cross country and track and field is Ali Voth. A little bit about Ali. Ali competed in cross country for 2 years. She's a two-time state qualifier in cross country, two-time all-conference performer. She was first team all-conference this season and was this year's team MVP. In her one season of track, she was a regional qualifier and ranked 6th all-time in the 3,000-meter run. She is all-conference academic all 3 seasons of her competition and compiled a 3.6 GPA over the past 5 semesters. This semester, Ali is trading in her running spikes for her microphone. She is an aspiring jazz singer and skipped her last season of track to focus on music. So with her gift for success, I'm sure we'll be finding her on our iTunes pretty soon. So our 51st George Silveria Career Student Athlete Award winner is Allie Voth.
Well, that's pretty cool. Thanks. I just wanted to probably thank my coaches, and just with cross country, they really knew how to be the best coaches for me specifically. That was the hard part for them, I'm sure, was learning how to best be a coach for me and the way I learned. And cross country being a sport that is not considered a game, I think that that is hugely something that just pushes you to be able to do your best, is having that support of your coaches and your team, because it's not always necessarily fun. It's not really a game. It's a pushing your body to what you know you can do, or what your coaches know you can do, but you're not sure if you can yet. So it made me really dedicated, and yeah, just thank you. Thank you, coaches, Kinter and Coach Loker. It's been great.
I'm going to ask Warren Hansen to come on up here and join me for this next award. Look at that guy. This award was established in 2002 and was named the Warren Hansen Scholar Athlete Award in recognition for Athletic Director Warren Hansen's 36-year commitment to academic excellence. A student must maintain a 3.5 grade point average and be nominated on the basis of their citizenship and athletic performance. Our female scholar athlete this year is Keiley Hansen. About time we had a Hansen up here. So, Keiley is a local girl from San Luis Obispo. She's a 2-year member of our women's soccer team, a 2-time all-conference academic teamer. She posted a perfect 4.0 in the last 78 units over 5 semesters. A little bit about Keiley from her coach, Bob Wilson. He says, Keiley really has no equal when it comes to being a teammate. She always considers the needs of her other players around her, and she often helps her teammates with their homework. She was the most improved player on the team this year. So, Keiley Hansen, your 2016 Warren Hansen Scholar Athlete. Our male Warren Hansen Scholar Athlete is Nick Rutckyj from baseball. Nick came to us from Surrey, Canada. He's a 2-time all-conference outfielder for the baseball team. He's also a 2-time all-conference academic selection in the classroom. Nick redshirted last year due to an injury, but he continued to work hard in the classroom and on the field and is back this season. He helped the Cougars win a conference title this year, and they are going to be playing in the second round of playoffs this week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 2-1 noon if you're here. Make sure you come on out here and support Nick and his teammates. He has posted a 3.985 GPA over the last 5 semesters. Pretty impressive and very Canadian, eh? This is across the board. A little bit about Nick from his coach, Bob Miller. He says, Nick is a well-rounded person. He excelled in the classroom and is a great contributor to the team. He battled 2 knee surgeries and is finishing strong. He gives everything he's got, and it's been an honor to have him in the program. So, Nick Rutckyj.
First of all, I'd like to thank my mom for letting me come down to California and play baseball. It's much nicer to play in the sun instead of the rain back in Vancouver, Canada. I'd like to thank my coaches, Coach Beckwith, Coach Miller, and Coach Poe. Day in and day out, they come to the field, show up, and help you get better and get to the next level. I also like to thank everybody who stood by me during my knee surgery. Actually, just about over a year today, I was in a wheelchair getting wheeled out of a surgery center down in Pismo. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to play baseball again and play the sport I love. Thank you.
Both Keiley and Nick will represent Cuesta at the conference and state level as our Cuesta College 3CAA Scholar Athlete nominees. Both of last year's Hansen Scholar Award nominees, John Sinclair, now at UCLA, and Molly Casey, now at Cal Poly, were selected to the state honor roll for the year, which is kind of what we expect. Cuesta has won more state scholar awards than any other school in community college, California Community College. So good luck to Keiley and Nick as their nominations move forward in September. So thank you. Have a great last semester.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to have these coaches come up, please. Bob Miller, Joe Dansby, and Janie Johnson. Just please come up here real quick. Come on. This past year, Coach Miller and Coach Dansby were named Conference Coaches of the Year. Let's give them a big round of applause. Good job. Just real quick, and Bob and Joe didn't want me to do this, but I'm doing it. Anyway, Bob is in his 14th season as head baseball coach. In those years, he's compiled an overall record of 357, 226, and 2. This past spring, as Pete mentioned, the Cougars won the conference, 18-6 record, and just this past weekend again, beat Palomar, and we'll be playing Chaffey College this upcoming weekend. So congratulations, Bob, on a tremendous season, and we're going. I'm going to give you guys a little gift. But anyway, every year I ask Coach Miller, I said, hey, can I get a baseball hat, a new baseball hat? And you know how baseball players, everything's fitted. It's all the size, a 7 1/4, 7 1/2, 8. So I asked Bob, I said, can I get one? And so he gives me this hat. I said, thank you. But I don't wear an 8 1/4. This is a hat he gave me this year. So you're getting it back. Congratulations. Joe Dansby. Joe's in his 16th season here at Cuesta College. This past year, the Cougars placed first for a third consecutive time in conference. 9 wrestlers were all conference, and 6 wrestlers went out to the state championships. I'm going to say this more importantly. His wrestling team was one of the top scholar teams in the entire state with a team cumulative GPA of 3.2 GPA. So his team was honored last month. Less than 20 teams are given that award, and wrestling, men's wrestling here was one of them. So here, try that, 8 1/4. Hey. Okay. Hey, while I'm at it, and track and field is not over right now, right? Track and field still is going. I want to congratulate Coach Loker and the men's track team. Okay, listen to this. This is the first. They just 2 weeks ago won the conference championship. It was the first time in school history, 46 years of Cuesta men's track and field, and they won the conference last year for the first time. Men's track team was one of those 20 teams too. Men's wrestling and men's track was also 3.2 GPA scholar teams. So Loker, you got an 8 1/4 hat too. Here you go. Okay. Last year, Janie Johnson retired from Cuesta College, coaching and teaching 25 years. A tremendous honor, and we miss her and love her. But she's been so instrumental in Cuesta College athletics. So last year, they initiated the Johnson family, Jan and Janie, the Johnson Family Award they initiated last year. And we'd like to do that this afternoon. We'd like to present the award from the Johnson family. So Jan.
Well, old Loker talked me into coming back and coaching too, and I'm teaching a little bit, so I'm like Gil. I can't get away from this place, which is a good thing. So we, as track coaches, we have a criteria of the student that we select has to be done with their academic and athletic career at Cuesta and be moving on to compete at another 4-year school. We also try to pick we have a lot of amazing athletes like every sport, but someone who's a team leader, who is coachable, who is just all around great, academically solid, and I'd like to bring this person up, and our winner this year is Miss Christine Marino. Come on up, Christine. This young lady is in the 400 meters, which is one of the most competitive. It's a lap around the track, in case you don't know track and field. And she's kind of a little bit, but you cannot believe this little girl is an amazing competitor. And she's also just the heart of our team. We have several athletes like that, but someone who's always there to lead with her work ethic, and she gets the most out of her mileage, we should say. And so just really happy to present her with this award. And she battled down the home stretch last week to make it all the way to SoCal finals, which are this Saturday. And we're hoping she's got one more step to make it to the state finals. She's going on to San Francisco State to compete there in the fall. So congratulations.
Okay, I'm going to present this next award, the Alberta Deutsch Fan of the Year Award. Okay, it's similar to the George Silveria, how we initiate it. Back in 2009, the athletics department established the Fan of the Year Award in remembrance of Alberta Deutsch, who passed away that same year. And most of you know Dan Deutsch is still one of our biggest fans and one of our biggest supporters. And I just want to tell the Deutsch family and Dan, just thank you so much for your support over the years and all you've done for Cuesta College and Cuesta College Athletics. So thank you, Dan. Alberta was truly one of our biggest fans. She was a former student athlete herself, so she genuinely knew what those athletes were going through. She understood the hard work and dedication it took to succeed in their sport. Over the years, these have been our previous winners: Monica Satterwhite, Jim Battersby, Dr. Frank Martinez, Dr. Anthony Kenninger, Tommy Ginn, and Janny Johnson. That's a great group of people right there. Each year we get a bunch of wonderful choices to select, and I could look around here, and you all are all special fans. But this year's recipient, I'll read some of the comments that were made about this year's recipient. He is the ultimate spokesman for Cuesta College Athletics, for not only the sport he's involved with, but for all of our teams. He has a heart of gold and unconditional love and respect for Cuesta College athletes. Goes above and beyond what is expected. One of the nicest guys you will ever meet. He has been instrumental in the success that the softball program has seen over this past decade. He has been the Cuesta assistant softball coach for over a decade and has held the program together through 5 different head coaches. This year's recipient was also a former student athlete at Cuesta College in the sport of football, so I'm not going to mention when that was. This year's recipient Fan of the Year goes to Henry Balau. This is a softball team.
Who would have thought that that you would come back to where you started out? This has been a great ride for me because I've told Coach Marzan and every coach that I've helped with that it is a privilege for me. it is a privilege to work with young ladies, young students, and to work with coaches that have the knowledge of what it is to be able to take a young lady who's self-doubt, persecuting on themselves, and take them and make them believe that they can accomplish anything if they put their minds to it. And for the last almost 11 years now, I've had the privilege of spending time with these young ladies out on the softball field out here. And thanks to this program, I really want to thank Bob for accepting me on this grounds, Coach Marzan for believing in me and continue to be my mentor as a coach. And as I don't know if you don't know this now, I this last year have just become the head coach at Templeton High School. We're on the run. We're going to go to CIF this year. Thank you so much.
I'm going to say this before we start with the nominees. So we go through our nominees, our athletes of the year, but I just want to say this before we all disperse here, and not right now, but you look across here, I want to thank everybody in this room from the bottom of my heart, okay? I mean that. There's people that I may have not mentioned or might mention or not, but I'm just telling you, everybody in this room has been instrumental in the success that we've had this year. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Whether you're a sponsor, a coach, assistant coach, the equipment managers, athletic trainers. I was on the way in today listening to a Sport Talk radio. They're talking about a culture, like the San Antonio Spurs have a culture of excellence. And I said, we have a culture of excellence. I mean, from the top down, from Dr. Stork to everybody, we promote our student athletes like I can't imagine. It's a culture of excellence, of integrity. We do it the right way. A testimony is all the scholar athletes we have. That's a testimony of what we do. We do it right. And I just wanted to thank, it's because there's other departments that I want to thank, admissions and records and counseling and all that type of thing. So everybody in here, I just wanted to say that before we leave today. I appreciate from the bottom of our heart all you do for our student athletes, because it makes a difference, and that's why we are who we are. We are awesome, okay? So thank you. Thank you. Coach Blair. Coach Blair.
Now we've come to the part where we do our nominees for each sport, which will end up with our Athlete of the Year. Our first coach to present is Coach Rusty Blair from men's basketball.
Where's Joe? Joe? Oh. Usually it's the other way around, right, Joe? You always come after me. Okay. Well, it's ironic that Bob just mentioned the San Antonio Spurs, because we emulate our program, San Antonio Spurs. We want to be the San Antonio Spurs. So I had several comments over the last spring and the winter. They were saying, how do you get those guys to pass the ball so well, be unselfish and share the ball? And they said, you play Cuesta ball. So all of a sudden I started hearing it out in the community. Cuesta has her own style. It's called Cuesta ball. So we don't have to worry about San Antonio anymore. We have our own brand. We're a Cuesta. We play Cuesta ball, and we're very proud of our basketball team. If you look to your program, you're going to see that Cuesta College men's basketball did not nominate an MVP this year. For a specific reason, because we have 5 or 6 guys on the team that could have all been MVPs. Over 51 years, Pete, of excellence here in basketball program being involved at Cuesta. This was the #1 statistical year for the men's basketball team, and that even outperformed our 1997 team that made it to the state finals. We were in the top 10 of virtually every category in the state of California. There's 94 teams in the state of California. So we're very proud that all the way through, we were in the top 10, and that includes RPI and strength of schedule, because there were some great teams out there this year, and we had to play all of them. So we, with 22 wins this year, are very proud of our team. I don't have an individual player, so what I decided to do is something long overdue. Talk about my support group, okay? Counselors and presidents, Dr. Stork, athletic directors, Pete, the custodial staff, the equipment managers, the trainers, the secretaries, you're all being mentioned, and we know you do a tremendous job, but how many of you coaches have really ever thought about what my support group does? My support group, I have several of them sitting on the basketball table. First one, Tommy Jen, stand up. Yeah, I know you don't like to stand up, Tommy, stand up. Tommy Jennings goes, what's special about me on the basketball team? Well, Tommy's been my main guy on the table for nearly 24 years now. He's ran the clock for every home game, every tournament game. And Tommy, we're watching each other get old, but only a couple more years, okay? All right, Tommy, thank you. I have a young woman sitting on that table too. She's been my wife for 37 years now, I think, unless I lost count. Katja, stand up, please. If you come to a basketball game, and I've been here coaching now, Pete, almost 800 games, or more close to 800 games. 800 games with my right-hand lady to either my left or my right, depending if I'm on the road or home. She's been the team statistician, and that's 800 games of doing stats, plus all the tournament games. She does 11, so probably somewhere she's statistically worked on over 1,000 games here at Cuesta College. Congratulations, Katja. Well, one additional comment too, because I'm an off-campus coach, and sometimes I'm not on campus with my players, and if we have an injury or an illness, guess who team mom is, or team nurse mom, okay? She sits down in the emergency rooms when those guys have problems, and she's holding their hands as the youngsters would do, especially the international kids. So I appreciate all the help you've given us. Love you out there, okay? Okay, I want to next let you know there's a couple guys on my staff that never get recognized. Okay, Alex Raj, stand up. Alex is my second assistant. I think he's finally decided now that basketball career is over and we're going to move on to coaching now. Funny minutes. Alex is a local student athlete. Morro Bay High was an all-conference player. Has been with me now for several years. Intermittently, he went to Mexico and played professional basketball, went to Germany and played professional, but I think now he's here to stay, and he's my strength conditioning coach. Thank you, Alex. Alex was also a player here for me also, so it was nice to have the local kids came in the program, and now they're moving on and helping me out as an assistant, and I think they have great plans to move on. That leaves me with the other guy that I know for a long time, and that's my son, Casey Blair. Stand up. I know this is totally unexpected. You guys didn't expect me to say anything, and I decided, well, it's long overdue. I've been here for a long time. And these guys have never got recognition, and I want to really give it to them today. The athletes are here for 2 or 3 years. We talk about athletes, but I think all the coaches out there, they couldn't survive in the program if they didn't have a support staff, and that's for all you guys. So all the assistants out here, good job. Casey's came here from San Luis High, was an all-league player, was an all-league player here at Cuesta. He decided to move on and play professionally in Europe, straight from Cuesta College. He has that Belgian passport, which helps him overseas. And he forego his education, and now is caught up. He's got his master's degree and his BS. So he's done that all online, but he got a taste of Europe. With that in mind, that's about the time frame we decided that what we need to do is we need to start being really successful at the collegiate level, and that's when we decided to go internationally. I have 2 international coaches played internationally. I played 15 years internationally overseas. Unfortunately, my contacts are now either deceased or have moved on, but on any account, we started getting emails and emails and emails from international kids, and in some cases the first contact, there was 200 or 300 contacts. That's the guy that scans it and records and looks at every YouTube and communicates with each athlete on an individual basis. So countless hours, and also he likes to stay up late at night. Well, believe me, he got no sleep at all because he starts about 10 o'clock at night and goes to 5 in the morning, day after day after day, researching athletes until we find the proper athlete that can come in and play Cuesta ball. And we have found that median right now. So Casey, you're on your way, 29 years old. He's going to make the next step. He's got a great basketball mind, but right now he's tremendous with the international kids and a tremendous recruiter. Thank you very much. Thank you. With that in mind, I didn't mean to slight any of my players. I could have had all 6 of my players stand up here, and we could have talked about their entire team, but we did have a tremendous year. Unfortunately, the last shot of the year, you hear those cookie crumbles or the way the ball bounces. The ball bounced right instead of left. We lost a conference championship in double overtime, but we've had a great run. Right, guys? We continue to start again next year. Thank you all. Okay.
Casey's going to have a lot of company coming up in the late nights. He's got a child on the way. So, congratulations, Casey. We move on to some of our other nominees. Our first one from women's volleyball, Coach Rutckyj Nystrom couldn't be here, and her nominee is Emily O'Brien, who is also transferred up last semester. I'll give you a little bit about Emily. Emily was the best player on the floor for the Cougars last year, and she spent a lot of time on the floor. She earned all-conference as the Cougars libero, or defensive specialist. She spent all game, every game, in the back row, diving on the floor and absorbing the hardest hits from the opponent's best spikes. She's the first player to clear 200 digs in a season since 2002, and is second all-time with 438 digs in a season. She wasn't all defense, though. She did have 1 kill on the season, but she got most of her points as a server. She led the Cougars with 36 serving aces this year, and she earned all-conference for volleyball and is their team MVP, so Emily O'Brien. I'm not sure if Johnny Hartshorn's here, if Johnny's had a test to take today. His coach, John Marsh, couldn't make it. And Johnny was a key to the Cougars' season this season. He was part of an all-freshman starting lineup. He is a smart, accurate shooter. He had 87 goals on the season. He's a tough defender. He had 45 steals. He was a great team player. He had 31 assists, and he added a lot of speed to the Cougars' fast break. Johnny stood out all season long and was an easy choice for other coaches to make him as a first-team all-conference selection, and then onto the All-American team after he helped the Cougars reach their 37th consecutive playoff berth. The men's water polo has never missed the postseason, and so hopefully next year Johnny will be back here for a 38th as a sophomore. So Johnny Hartshorn from men's water polo. And our next, we're going to ask Brian Loker to come up here. He's going to be our frequent speaker. Our next nominee is also our George Silveria Career Award winner. That is Allie Voth. She is the cross-country team MVP.
So I know we get a very short amount of time to say what we need to say about fantastic athletes here at Cuesta College. So I'll kind of tell Allie's story in a very quick synopsis. I want to start, I guess, with where she came from in high school, and she was actually a really great young athlete in the Fresno area, and ended up skipping high school sports altogether, I think, until her senior year when she moved to Morro Bay. So we sort of picked up Allie. I talked to her at the county cross-country meet at Laguna Lake, and had a really good conversation with her. And you know, as recruiting always goes, you never know when the kids are going to commit or not commit. And I spoke to Allie and I said, "Oh, I'd really be interested in having you come to Cuesta next year." And she's like, "Oh, I'm coming." I was like, "I think we'll be a great program for you, and this is a good fit, and you're going to run really fast." She's like, "I'm coming." And I said, I think you should really wait. You're coming? So that was a really easy start for us to get Allie on board. And from there, kind of things just went as they did. She had a really fantastic freshman year where she was able to compete and have her best meet of the year at the state meet where she ran, I think it was 1932. So it was really great things. Allie showed a lot about her talent, about her tenacity, and about her ability to execute in a specific race plan, which we had for her. And then she also had a really good track season outdoors where she PR'd in the 1500. We actually decided at that point that it might be best to redshirt Allie. I've never redshirted any of the women on my team before because we really wanted to develop our team into another state contender on the women's cross country side. And the plan ended up paying off for us because this last year, Allie came back as our team MVP, our team captain, and was really instrumental in helping our women's team get back to the state championships. And in the process of doing that, she able to, compete for a state as a selection in the all conference and do amazing things in the classroom as well. And I'm happy for her career now in the music, as she continues her career in the music industry and making the right choices for herself in terms of where she needs to take her priorities. And I'm just thrilled to have Allie. I was thrilled to have her for the 2.5 years that she worked with us, and thrilled to have her on the stage now. So, Allie Voth.
Our next presenter from women's basketball is Ron Barba with his athlete, Autumn Russell.
Good afternoon. Just want to say thank you, everyone, for coming today. And as a coach, it's really great to sit here and hear the stories like everyone has alluded to. But every athlete has, a pretty good story. This one is no exception. And the mere fact that she graduated from Templeton High School, which is local, and led them to a CIF title a few years back, and ended up coming to Cuesta here was a great relief for me. As Brian alluded to, you are. And it was thrilled to have her play for me for this past year. Before I say anything more about her, I do want to acknowledge someone here that's really been a special part to our program, and that's Greg Murphy. He's been with the program for 20 years, and he's been a great asset with stats and basketball insights. So, Greg, stand up and let everyone give you a quick hand. And Greg's a local boy, too, so it's all good. Getting back to Autumn, this player was something else. At the beginning of the year, we were hoping, our high standards and Cuesta ball and all that. But unfortunately, there's some things that go wrong in the process. And we had some key injuries early. Autumn came in injured from the summer, so we didn't quite get her till about the second week of playing. But her stats, if she would have been healthy, you can only imagine what they would have been like. She was a first-team all-conference player for us, playing injured she had meniscus. Yeah. And basically, she ended up the year with 11 points per game and 11 rebounds per game, a double-double. That's pretty impressive. She also was our leading scorer, leading rebounder. She set the record for seasonal rebounding average, so congratulations on that, Autumn. But more importantly, she was a player that's very coachable, team captain, and led us in almost every category that we had this year. Give you an idea, she was our leading steals person, our rebounder, our points, led us in free throw percentage, you name it, she led us in. But there was one game that really stands out in my mind, and it was Santa Barbara. We had 6 kids. Santa Barbara's averaging about 78 points a game. Miss Russell here decides to take the team and put them on the back and carry them. She has 26 points, 18 rebounds, and we knock off state potential team, knocked them out of the playoffs. So it was pretty impressive. With that, we finished the season strong with some of the injuries, but mainly because of Autumn Russell. The last game of the year, we beat Moore Park College, who was also looking at state playoff. We beat them by 4 points to end our season. So we ended up on a very positive note with Miss Russell scoring 21 points and 17 rebounds. So quite an accomplishment for her this year. I will say it's a pleasure when you see these kids come to our school, and the fact that I've had these local kids from Paso Robles, Sheldon, Palma from Atascadero, Crosby from Morro Bay, Williams from Morro Bay, Williams from Mission, and now Russell from Templeton. They've all been student athletes, so there's something to be said about that. Nice job. Congratulations.
We're going to welcome Brian Loker back up to the stage with his nominee from men's track and field, Joe Reeves.
Hi. Hello. Are you there? This is Joey Reeves, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to tell Joey Reeves' story as well. I'm more of a storyteller than a stat teller. You guys can read the stats in the guides. They're pretty fantastic. But for Joey, I think that Joey is a fantastic fit for Cuesta College. Joey's the type of athlete where I think community college is a perfect place for Joey, and he really embodies what we try to do with our athletes. We recruited Joey out of Arroyo Grande High School, and at the time his coach still says this, but James Brown, he's had two favorite athletes all time, and one sitting over there, and Christine Moreno, and the others here, and Joey Reeves. Joey's a fantastic vaulter in high school, and when he got to Cuesta, he was well on his way to becoming one of the best vaulters we've ever had here at Cuesta. Unfortunately, Joey decided that school wasn't the school wasn't for him at that time, and we missed him that fall, and he took care of his priorities, as Allie is doing now with her background in school and music, and Joey really went to go take care of his family, because that was where the priority needed to be. Over the past year and a half, I think it was 2.5 years ago right now, we stayed in touch with Joey and always let him know that if he felt that community college and going back to school and vaulting was a good place for him, that we wanted to have him back. We knew he was a great kid, loved his tenacity on the track, loved the way he interacted with the athletes and his coaches, and just knew he was a good human being. And Joey decided that this semester was going to be a good time for him to go back to school. So lo and behold, here we have Joey, and he's the best vaulter in the state this year. He's vaulted 16-2. He has not lost a competition to any community college athletes all season. He's doing well in the classroom and actually has a degree focus for what he wants to do in the future, as well as continuing his vaulting at the next level. We're excited to have him back again next year. And I think that says a lot about who Joey is. It's just, he's done a very good job of being an adult, really, at too young an age, and taking care of his family and taking care of also his priorities with his passions in track and field, and making sure that he's getting things done academically as well as monetarily, as well as out at the track, balancing a lot, doing a very good job of it. And I think one of the things that resonates with me talking about Joey is the other day, just seeing him come out to the track every day. When he comes there, it's like Joey's playground, right? Joey loves to be at the track, and he's just got this huge smile on his face. He's doing flips on the pole vault pit. He's jumped at 17 feet in practice this year. We're gonna look forward to him doing that at the state meet, and just seeing him out there is like a little kid being exactly where he's supposed to be. So Joey Reeves, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I think I saw Coach Furman come in. Is Rich? Yep, there he is. Okay, our presenter right now is Coach Rich Furman from swimming, and our nominee to be presented is Matthew McDonald, his men's swimmer.
It's hard for us to be up here. We're not kind of shy people here to get up here and do the sit, but Matt did an outstanding job for us this year. I don't know if anybody knows our situation, or some of you that do come out and swim at the pool, that our pool wasn't there for the first 8-9 weeks of the season. And we had to get in campus buses and go down to Oro Grande High School, get in about an hour of swimming, and then come back so the kids could make class. And then many days, kids weren't able to make class. But Matt did a fantastic job for us. He was our top guy in any event over 200 yards or 200 yards and above. Also, coming into our conference meet after he'd had a fantastic meet at the Pasadena Invite, PRing in 3 events there, he comes in and he goes, "Coach, my back's a little sore. I got a sore shoulder." And I look at his back, and his back looks like Quasimodo. He's got a big old hump on his back. He had strained his shoulder in the last couple of weeks going into our conference meet. He wasn't able to PR at the conference meet, but he rehabilitated his shoulder, and his time stood up from the Pasadena meet that got him off the state meet, and he was able to then PR at state meet, and his time now is standing up for an All-American consideration time for swimming after being out of the water for a couple of weeks. So the men's swimming nominee for Athlete of the Year is Matt McCraw.
Rich. Our next presenter is Coach of the Year, Bob Miller, and his pitcher, Brendan Jenkins.
Well, it's not Coach of the Year, it's Coaching Staff of the Year. I've got 2 of my assistants here with me today, Tom Beckwith and Jerry Chabot, and it's truly Staff of the Year. My wife, Christine, is with me too, and she's part of the staff with all the listening to me bicker at night and the sleepless nights. And, you know, if I'm up from 10 o'clock to 5 in the morning, I'm not looking for players. I'm trying to figure out a lineup. But real quick, Mary, you here? Will you try this on? That's Brendan's box. You've been getting the hats out of Brendan's box. So unfortunately, we won't have to worry about that. Next year, there'll be smaller hats as we go for a perfect hat, right? Perfect size on that. And before I get into Brendan here, I also, you know, just want to congratulate Nick and on winning his award, and the other 2 baseball players we have here today. This is by far the most talented group of 4 players we brought to this room in my 14 years of being here. Neil Uscali has had the University of Hawaii on a pitching scholarship. Garrett Giovanelli hasn't decided yet, but he's got like 42 offers right now from schools of various places throughout the country and all that. And Nick is certainly a very talented man. If you ever go watch him hit, he hits like a caveman. I mean, he hits the ball a long ways. And so, and Brendan here is signed to the University of San Francisco. He's the first player that we've had signed in November in 10 years. So it's really an honor that even before this season started, that he was that highly regarded on the radar and that type of thing. So very talented group of people that we bring here. And, you know, I'm just real happy with the players and the support group that we have. And it's truly an honor to be here and to be a part of this. Baseball is a numbers thing, so I share more of the numbers here with you today as we go through this. As I mentioned, Brendan did sign in November with the University of San Francisco to be a mathematics major up there, so he is a student as well as an athlete up there, and going to stay pretty close to his home as well as stay in the state to pitch. But among the talented baseball players we have, and the reason why he's standing up here and maybe some others aren't, is the consistency and the competitiveness that this person has brought to the table to us this year, and also as a follow-up to what he did as a freshman here in our program. It's been an unbelievable contribution in what this person has done in the meaning of our team. He's the player that goes out at the start of a series to pitch against the Riverside Ace, the Orange Coast Ace, the Saddleback Ace, and then the teams in conference, the same deal with the Santa Barbaras and the Oxnards and those types. And if anybody here was at our game on Saturday, our game 3. We chose him to pitch that elimination game in game 3, which he went out and gave us 8 innings where he allowed 1 run, and we ended up winning and moving on to the second round. But that's what we have. And in his time here, in his career, 37 and a third scoreless inning streak. 37 consecutive innings that he pitched where a run didn't score. That wasn't in one day. He leaves with a 1.93 career earned run average. Yep, that's right. Is that right, Pete? Which is setting a Cuesta baseball record by over a run. It's blowing it out of the water. 4 shutouts, 4 complete game shutouts, 7th in all-time wins. And we're going to hate to see him go for many, many reasons, but one of which, when he pitches at home, actually when he pitches and wins, we get Rice Krispie treats. So hopefully we have a few more wins where we get some more Rice Krispie treats, and other than that, I'll be going to San Francisco to see some games and get some treats. Congratulations on an outstanding career, Brendan.
Our next presenter is Bob Wilson from women's soccer and his nominee, Kristen Engel.
Thank you. I'd like to present Kristen Engel. She's our soccer representative. First day of practice this year, we have 25 players running amok, and it was real quick to see that Kristen was probably the class of the group already. We quickly made her the center back position on our team, which is sort of the quarterback of the team. She sees everything, she directs. However, she's very quiet, which is kind of good when you have 25 women on the team. She's kind of nice. But her leadership came from her ability. Center back position is kind of really a very key position on the field, and she was able to sort of see the positioning part of that better than any player we've ever had here. Her ability to read the game, fall into the right place, cut the angles, block the space that the other team's trying to use their opportunity for is, bar none, the best I've seen. So she became the quarterback of the team, even in her quiet way, and she didn't play real aggressive. It was kind of deceptive because she was so smart. She was always kind of in the right spot. She'd just steal the ball, pick it up, pass it off. Soccer's not a numbers game unless you get that one player that scores all the goals, so you don't have a lot of stats for that. But then some of the players would get a little aggressive with her because she was stealing all the passes, and it was pretty impressive how physically she'd just kind of knock them around. They didn't know that was going to happen until they came into her, so that was quite great. She played 100% of every second of our games, which doesn't really happen very often, so it's pretty amazing. And then the track team picked her up to be one of their heptathletes, so she's doing well in that. Kristen Engel, thank you.
Okay, we're going to invite Coach Furman back up, and his nominee from women's swimming is Andy Miller.
I'd like to go back to last year's state meet when Andy Miller made it as a freshman to state meet, but she only made it in, well, not saying only made it, but she made it in relay events and not individual events. So at the end of last year's state meet, she said to myself and John Marsh, I'm going to make it in individual events next year. And that's just exactly what she did. Even with our shortened season, even with us going down to AG High School to practice, she made it to state meet in 3 of the most grueling events that you can swim in swimming at the collegiate level. She made it in the 500-yard freestyle, the 400-yard IM, and the 1,650-yard freestyle. Okay? Now, it wasn't an easy convincing to tell her that those were her best events to swim. We had to do a little bit of convincing along the way that, yeah, you could make it in these events in the state meet, and not only make it, but do very well. She went on to state meet to do better in her 400 IM and her 1,650-yard freestyle, and she is also a All-American nominee. We find out in the next couple of days whether her times will hold up for All-American status. So it's the women's swimming's nominee is Andy Miller. Now we got to do a picture.
Brian Loker. This time Brian's coming up for women's track with his nominee, Augusta Thomason.
I know a lot of you attend a lot of these Athlete of the Year luncheons, and you'll probably find a common theme with our track team and pole vaulters. Augusta Thomason is another pole vaulter, another very, very good pole vaulter. Her story sort of starts with Jan Johnson, as many of our pole vaulting stories do. We're sort of legendary in the community college world for pole vaulting, us and another community college down south that we don't like to mention too often, but like to beat very often at the state meet. So Augusta was a very good pole vaulter in high school, but really enjoyed a lot of Jan's training. She went to camps with Jan and got hold of Jan at some point to let him know that he was interested in vaulting wherever he ended up coaching. And so that's where I came into play when getting hold of Augusta and letting her know that we would really like to have you here if you're going to finish 3rd in the state in high school. And that's what she did. She came in and straight away she was just a great athlete to work with. So, you know, the track meet started, and we actually were hitting a lot of bumps in the road last year. Unfortunately, some sicknesses and injuries and things like that, and halfway through the season, things weren't going quite the way we wanted them to. And then all of a sudden, we went to this meet in Santa Barbara, and this young lady jumped 13-1, which was a state-leading mark at that time, and ended up holding up over the course of the season. Last year, she ended up vaulting 13-4 or 13-6? 13-4. So that was a national leading mark in community college pole vaulting for women. She ended that season as a state champion, did not lose a contest all year to another community college competitor. She took a small hiatus to this past fall to take care of have a surgery actually to help her be healthier. And so we lost some ground in the fall, and we had a lot of making up to do this spring. And we kind of started in the same boat where we weren't doing really well at the beginning of the semester, and things started picking up steam as we continued. At this point, Augusta is vaulted 12-6. Again, has not lost another vaulting competition to another community college competitor. Is also the state leading vaulter. We just got our state leader, national leaders up the other day, and I forget exactly where Augusta was, but I'm pretty sure it was 1 or 2 in the nation again this year. She is the best vaulter, women's vaulter we've ever had come through Cuesta College. She's the Cuesta College record holder in that particular event. Is a fantastic woman to work with on the field. Always has a smile. Positive things to say for her fellow athletes, willing to put herself, do the things that we need her to do to help the team. And we sort of rode her back the past couple years to our state and conference accolades. So it's been a pleasure to work with Augusta, and she will be off to one of the best Division I track and field schools in the nation next year in Texas A&M. And So we have a couple more wins to get at SoCal Finals, another one at state championships this year, and after that we'll be sending her off to Texas A&M and a solid career there. So this is Augusta Thomason.
And here he is, our next presenter, Joe Dansby from wrestling, his nominee Luis Quintero.
Only took 16 years to go after Brian, finally. Microphone only has to go down a little bit. I'd like to start off with a quote from Dan Gable, one of the best wrestlers and wrestling coaches of all time. The first period is won by the best technician. The second period is won by the kid in the best shape. And the third period is won by the kid with the biggest heart. Luis has all these attributes. More often than not, he is the best technician on the mat. Even more often, he's in the best shape. And 100% of the time, he's the guy with the biggest heart. Luis is quiet. Luis is funny. Luis is quite funny. He's a leader, hard worker, and extremely coachable. Luis deserves all the accolades that he gets. He won his all-conference for us this year. He was third in the region, second at the big Meathead Invitational Tournament, third in the regional again, and eighth at the state finals, and he actually lost in the consolation quarters by concussion, so the best he could get was eighth place. He led our team, our very successful wrestling team this year with 32 wins. But if I were to add to Dan Gable's quote, I would say this. To be on a wrestling mat, you have to be a little bit crazy. And I mean the good crazy, not the crazy, the good crazy. You have to imagine you're one-on-one with somebody that's trying to manipulate you, make you hurt for points. There's no teammates in that 30-foot circle. There's no timeouts, and there's no help. Often there's coaches that say, hey, they'll give you some nice feedback. Hey, do this, do that, out of the 30-foot circle, but no one's in it with you. But also on the outside are these coaches that are yelling negatives that get him, pin him, take him down. It's a crazy sport. It's a little bit nuts, some would say. Luis is a little crazy and a little nuts, but in a good way. Actually, most wrestlers are. So in the words of the late Prince, to all my wrestlers, including Luis, let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. Let's look for the purple banana till they put us in the truck. You have to think about that. Let's go crazy. The good crazy. Wrestling's representative for Athlete of the Year, the technician, the cardiovascular king, the guy with the biggest heart, and the guy with the good crazy, Luis Quintero.
Okay, our next nominee, back after a few years hiatus, our softball coach, Allison Grant, and our nominee, Demi Donnell.
I appreciate everybody's patience and indulging us coaches a few moments to talk about these kids that we care so much about. So I will be brief. After 10 years of not coaching Cuesta softball, I came back to fill in the spring. And I left coaching not because I don't love the sport. I love the sport more than I could actually articulate. But when I had my own children, I really wanted to spend the time with them that I thought I needed to. And after working with this group in spring, when our coach left in the fall, Bob Miller and I took the preseason class together. And I had an opportunity, one, to work with Bob Miller, that if you ever get a chance to work with him in his element, you should. He's amazing. And he really inspired me. He taught me about the glue that holds teams together. And then meeting these young women, it really made me think about that if I wanted to make a difference, I needed to come back and at least help them get some kind of experience that was meaningful for them. And one of the kids that really convinced me of that was this one, is Demi Donnell, who's our nominee for Athlete of the Year. Demi's quiet, but she's really funny. You wouldn't know that standing up here right now, but she's really funny. And Demi convinced me to do joke of the day at practice. So we always had word of the day, quote of the day, and then joke of the day. And sometimes they were supplied by my 8-year-old son and sometimes not, but it was something that we did as a team that was really fun, and it came out of her sense of humor and I think the relationship that we created. Coming back to coaching gave me an opportunity to really admire and respect the staff of coaches that we have at Cuesta College. You know, when you walk away from something, sometimes you forget what people do. And I used to tell the athletes, if you want to be good, surround yourself by people who are better than you. They'll make you better. And I can honestly say the coaches that we have at Cuesta, they are so outstanding. They made me raise my game. Coming back, they made me think about what I was doing and made me better. So I really want to say thank you to all of the coaches. You really are amazing. And I also want to thank my coaching staff. So it was an interesting situation. I don't know if you've ever been on an athletic team, but I was the head coach on paper, but often didn't travel. So this team played a third of their games without me as their head coach. They played on the road without me. And we couldn't have done that without my two assistant coaches, TJ Jolliker, who's here, who was the head coach when I was not there, and Bob Mariucci, who was the other coach. I think Bob is like 8-1 or something, so you should stick to coaching softball, Bob. All right, so I'd like to talk a little bit about Demi. When I came out to softball, I asked one of the other athletes, hey, how long has Demi been pitching? And they said, oh, coach, Demi doesn't want to pitch. She wants to play first base. I was like, what? She's a pitcher. And in life, you know, sometimes you choose the role, and other times the role chooses you. And there's no doubt that the role of pitching chose this young woman. She's amazing. And she hasn't pitched in a while. So with a little bit more time, she's going to be even more spectacular. I just want to give you a couple of her stats, because softball is a stats game, too. So in our conference, she's #1 in earned run average, the best pitcher in ERA. She had #2 in wins. She was 1 win away from having the most wins in our conference. She was #1 in strikeouts with 162 in our conference. In the state, I know, right? Legit. In the state, she was #3 overall in strikeouts per game with almost 7 strikeouts a game, which is 1 strikeout an inning. That's huge for your team. Opponents batted less than 200 against her. And by the way, she can hit. She can't just pitch. She hit the #4 spot for us. She hit over 500 with a slugging percentage of .539. She was first team all-conference for us, and going into the last doubleheader of the season, this little Cuesta team that could, we used to say to each other, I believe, this little Cuesta team that could, we were tied for first place going into the last day of regular season play, and a lot of that had to do with Demi, her success, her hard work, her steadiness. She really was the steady Eddie on the field for us. So our Athlete of the Year nominee is Demi Donnell. Good job. Those are my notes. Oh.
I have a roll call here. Oh, this one's easy. Our next nominee is from women's water polo. That's Emily Crane. First off, I want to recognize Emily's family. Emily's from Hemet. She's kind of a legacy here. Her sister Jen played for me back. Her mom Nola's here. Her grandma Mary and her aunt Laura, who's been a big part of helping Emily come up here to San Luis Obispo. Last year, her freshman year, she was one of 3 freshmen on the team. We graduated 11 players from our 2014 team, but Emily was the perfect person to bring back for a team of all newbies. She's, a great leader on our team. She has won more games for Cuesta College than any other player. Our last 2 years have been our 2 winningest seasons with 24 and 23 victories. So, gives you the one constant we've had has been Emily. She's been the best all-around player we've had this year. She can play any position in the pool. She's a great defender, probably the best one-on-one defender. She could see and help teammates all over the place, but also lock down on her person. We could give her the toughest defensive assignment. And on offense, she demonstrated what a great team player she was, because she shattered our school assist record for both a career and a season. But she wasn't just passing all the time. She scored 72 goals this year, and she ranks 10th all time in goals. She did a little bit of everything and did everything very well for us. Most importantly, Emily was an unquestioned leader for this team, especially with 13 freshmen. Having somebody like Emily who could run the team by example, just show her toughness. She played the first few weeks of the season with an injured finger, but didn't miss a game. And Emily has this look that she gives, especially when people are out of line. I get it a lot. And it can just unquestioned. If she gave that look to one of the players, they knew they were got to straighten up and get back into what they were doing. Emily Crane named first team all conference, named all state this year. Just an amazing 2 years for Emily, and we hope she goes on to play. We're looking at some schools right now. Kat's working with me on that one. Kat, oh, she left. Yeah. So our nominee for women's water polo, Emily Crane. Okay. And just for fun, we'll have Brian Loker come back up with his last nominee, Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott, ladies and gentlemen. Sean is another fantastic story. I actually have been telling this one a lot lately. So Sean is from North Tahoe High School, and you can come closer, Sean. I'm not going to bite. There you go. So Sean's from North Tahoe High School, and he has a couple buddies who are on the team this year. They were on our team last year, and Sean emailed me at some point last year and was like, hey, I'm really interested in being on your team. I'm going to be living in the area. And as many of you know, because of our Title IX limitations, we get 13 people for our men's roster spot for cross country. So I told Sean, who had pretty modest high school PRs, that you're welcome to come. I can't guarantee you a spot on the team, but we usually have a spot that opens up because somebody doesn't come or something of that nature. He said, well, I'll take my chances. I think I'm pretty good, so I'll be there. And I said, well, you give it a shot. And he showed up first day of practice and started beating all of my guys. And I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. He is coming from elevation and coming down to lower elevation, so maybe that's in the cards. I'll just wait for him to kind of fall back into the routine with everybody else. And that didn't really happen. Sean went after our first race of the season, and he and another kid on my team were in tied for second place at that point, our Cuesta Invitational. And then for those of you who have been to Fairbanks, you come over this huge tower hill and then down the other side. And if you're on one side tower, you can't see what's going on the other. And all of a sudden, he came around the big hill where they finished for the last mile, and Sean's beating everybody by 20 seconds. And he didn't really stop there, though. He kept going up another. If you go, there's just a ton of hills everywhere. So you're always climbing a hill. It never feels like you're actually going down a hill. So Sean ended up finishing, and he finished first by 45 seconds. That's a lot. And Sean didn't really stop there. We're like, well, one hit wonder. We'll see if this kid can do it again. And we went and ran at our Southern California regional meet for the preview, and he ended up taking 5th against some of the guys who had been running at the state track and field championships and won there the year before. And that was kind of sealed the deal for me. I was like, okay, this kid is for real. And so that was it. I mean, that was our season, continuing like that for quite often. He won another invitational at Santa Barbara. Unfortunately, we had a hamstring injury that derailed our season a little bit. Actually, it was more of a hiccup than a derail. And we had to hold him out of conference championships, unfortunately, so he wasn't able to place there just to make sure his hamstring was taken care of. And I actually held him back at our regional qualifying meet, too, because I felt like our team was going to get through anyway. So I said, you're not able to, I don't want you pushing all the way. I need you to run with, a certain guy on our team. And so I figured, once we did that and workouts are still going pretty well, I was like, we might be able to get top 20 at state. That would be pretty good for us. Maybe take a shot at top 14, which would be All-American. And lo and behold, you go to another cross-country race, and there's a lot more hills there, too. And you see Sean coming up the last hill into the last straightaway. And he was in 20th about a mile before that, and now he's in 5th. We don't get a lot of All-Americans here at least in cross-country at Cuesta. We're getting more, but our past is modest in that area. And so as a freshman, I've never had a freshman run into a regional or an All-American running spot in cross-country, but Sean did. And it was pretty miraculous that he did so. So that was his cross-country story. His track story got off to about the same spot. He's ranked number 2 in the state right now in the 5K. He's ranked, he has a pretty modest steeplechase PR, but we're planning on winning state in that one pretty soon. So, and the thing that was best about Sean, he owns a school record in the 3K, so that's pretty good, 8:40. And the thing that I enjoyed most about Sean this year was his leadership, being a team captain and really helping with many others on our men's track team to guide our team to the first conference championship we've won in 46 years at Cuesta. And the guys really put that on their back and took ownership of being or fighting for a conference title. And watching Sean take second in the steeplechase at conference finals this year and then come back and take second again in the 5K, it just doesn't happen very often to run those 2 races in one meet and do that well. And Sean was able to do it the whole, and keep fighting for his teammates the whole time. So, Sean McDermott.
We've kind of come to the next part of our award ceremony here, and just we break it down. It's very difficult to come down to from 15 different sports and come down to a male and female athlete, because every athlete here is the athlete of the year for their sport. But we'll ask Bob to come on back up here as we announce our female athlete of the year this year. And our female athlete of the year this year from women's track and field is Augusta Thomason. And our male Cuesta College Athlete of the Year for 2015-16 is from baseball, Brendan Jenkins.
Thank you so much. Coming to Cuesta College has been one of the best decisions that I ever made. This college has prepared me for the next level, and I'm really excited for Texas A&M. But the coaches here have been so supportive of me and have given me so many tools to use, not only on the track, but in my own life. I'd like to thank Jan Johnson especially from going all to the camps and going on bike rides with him and everything, telling me stories. Like, he has a special place in my heart, and I'll forever remember these last 2 years here at Cuesta. And then also a huge thank you to my mom, who flew out to Texas from Texas today. And so my mom is my biggest fan, my best friend, and she has been my biggest supporter through the past couple years. So thank you.
I would like to just say thank you to all the coaches. Coach Miller has been a great 3 years here. Gotten better each and every day. Those are my 3 years here. It's easily one of the best decisions of my life to come here. I'd like to also thank my teammates because day in and day out, they push me. They push me to get better each and every day. And this is why we're conference champions and still playing. And so, thank you.
All right, I'd like to wish Augusta and the rest of the track teams as they advance to the regional finals this weekend and then hopefully on to state. And baseball, again, regional playoffs continuing this weekend right here at Cuesta, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That concludes our presentation for today. Thank you very much for joining us, and be sure to join us in the next games. We'd like to make sure we keep the winners. We can have the winners, Allie, Brendan, Augusta, Nick, and Keiley, if you can hang around for a little bit for interviews and pictures. Thank you.